And the Virginia and New Jersey governor's races are tightening as we enter the home stretch. Now, Democratic candidates are calling in the big guns. Former President Obama set to headline rallies in both states next week. Charlie Hurt, co-host of Fox & Friends Weekend, is here, and I want to show you this in just the numbers. Spanberger and Earl Sears now just 7 points apart. It was much more than that. And in New Jersey, just a 5-point race. And if you think about that one, how close it was 4 years ago with Chitterelli, that's no wonder the Democrats feel like they got to call in the former president to help them out.
Yeah, no, and of course, both of these races were double digits to the favor of Democrats just a couple of weeks ago. So this is a real definite closing in both races. And a lot of people are suggesting that having to call in Barack Obama to be their closer. Look, Barack Obama comes in the closing weeks of every Democrat campaign. I don't think he's particularly a great closer anymore, but he's the best Democrats have. So that is significant. I think the other thing that is very significant right now is that Democrats in both of these races are plunging new money into get out the vote and last-minute ads in both of these races. And what's significant about that is that Democrats have massive, in almost all of the races in both states, Democrats have massive spending advantage over Republicans, at least 2-to-1 in both of the governor's races, up to 10-to-1 in some of the other races. And so the idea that you're looking at these polls, they're closing down to single digits, in some cases with just a couple of points separating them, and the fact that Democrats are feeling like they have to spend more money in both of them means that I think that they recognize that they've got a couple of fights on their hands that they did not expect. Mm-hmm. And, you know, again, big picture, in these races, first of all, they're both Democrat states, and if you look throughout history, the advantage always goes to the party that is out of power in Washington in this first off-year election. And that's particularly true in Virginia. And the idea that Republicans are at the door in Virginia at this point in the race is devastating.
Okay, so we're going to see how it rolls in. I mean, 6 weeks of early voting in Virginia? Yeah. Holy cow. That's an entire football season. Speaker Johnson on his thoughts on both now. Watch here.
What are these races in New Jersey and Virginia? What do you think they'll serve as takeaways for 2026 in the midterms here?
We'll see, but it looks like Republicans are surging for the right reasons.
Charlie, he'd be right about that. We'll see how the results go. I just want to show you which Democrats are out there stumping in both states. Obama, Buttigieg, Giffords, Tim Kaine, Klobuchar, Wes Moore, Gretchen Whitmer. We could not find an invitation being sent to Joe Biden. Yep. He's got some health issues, though, right now, too, so maybe that's of concern for him. But Kamala Harris and Tim Walz did not get an invite either that we have found just yet, and we have no evidence just yet that either one of them will be reporting. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's such a great point, and I'm so glad you did that because it's like one of those really obvious questions that people forget to ask. But that's such an important point. You have these standard bearers who were on the ballot just 1 year ago that every single Democrat in the country was pouring every effort into solving all of their problems in the next election. And you don't hear anything from any of them except for Kamala Harris, who's trying to sell books. And so she's out there, but there's no indication that anybody particularly wants her. The other thing that I think is also kind of interesting in Virginia, you have Barack Obama coming to stump in Virginia. He's obviously endorsed Abigail Spanberger, but no endorsement for Jay Jones, who is running for Attorney General and who has caused all kinds of headaches for Republicans, including Spanberger, who refuses to kick him off of her ticket after those text messages in which he advocated assassinating a political opponent that he didn't like because that political opponent tried to work across the aisle. Yeah. A truly extraordinary sort of bombshell. And it is amazing that Abigail Spanberger has not kicked Jay Jones to the curb. And you know, polling right now shows that J.C. Miyares, who's the current Attorney General, is in a very, very good position to hold on to that seat.
All right, Charlie. Great to see you.
You know, we don't pay a lot of attention to the Attorney General race in a lot of states.
There's a reason we are.
This one we
Exactly.
will, indeed. Thank you,
Yeah.
Charlie. Nice
This
to
is
see
an
you.
important one.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you,
great to see
Charlie.
you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.